There's no forecast to tell you there's going to be fog at 10 o'clock. You just got to look out the window and see what's happening. This is like a heat inversion. It's hot on top, cold on the water. Just hope it doesn't stay around. It's only, just on Georgia Strait where the cold water is, that's what it's doing.
Grew up. That's basically why. Like little boys, you want to be, a fireman, policeman, pilot, right?
One time my dad was washing our Cessna 180 and he was up in the wing and he slipped and fell into the lake. And so he wanted to dry off, and I remember him saying, okay, we're going flying so I can get dried off, and it's your turn to fly.
Oh, my dad's really into aviation. It just kind of wore off on me, lucky for him. My son doesn't like aviation at all. He's like, why are you so into these planes, Dad? So boring. Dinosaurs are where it's at,
The first job I actually got was as a swamper. I was instructed to load and unload and fuel the airplane and allowed to steer after the pilot took off in a Beech 18.
Pilots fly, yes, for an income. And yeah, it's nice when you're making a good draw on the income when you're flying the more advanced aircraft or the bigger aircraft. But we do it for the love of flying.
Our operating costs run somewhere around $700 an hour just to run them. We do it because we love to fly. It's not about the money. That's what all the pilots say. Not about the money. It's a lifestyle choice. That usually means you're not making any money.
I live on the West Coast. I love the West Coast, and flying jets would eventually, I could come back here, but I would have moved all over the place, and this is where I wanted to be.
Well, it's typical out here, and it's atypical across the country. I think that if you were to go as far east as possible, you'll find people in the industry. As far north as you can, you'll see aircraft and people occupied in that business, moving freight and people. And the west coast of sure, it's been around a long time.
I think the definitely is more of an art flying a float plane. There's regulations we have to follow, the same as the airlines, and there's numbers and limitations to the aircraft, and it's all very important whether it's a float plane or a 747. But I think, like I said earlier, the feel of the plane, to actually feel it, and there's a certain art to it.
Well, we have to fly the airplanes, whereas the jets are mostly flown by computers and pilots that have to program them. People have to hang out at airports and get clearances and the very strict rules. And we have rules as well, but we're not flying in controlled airspace, so we have to make a lot more decisions.
Our job is, we give the guys the tools before they leave, and then we expect them to make those decisions on their own when they're out there. We support them as much as they can. Like if they get on the radio and say, hey, I need some information, we give it to them, but there's no way that you can really be involved in that decision because you're not there.
The beauty of the float plane is you have the freedom, a certain freedom. We have to be disciplined too. But there's a freedom to land anywhere there's water, basically.
I love the ocean, the freedom. It's always different.
Yeah, it's one of the best offices in the world, for sure.
It's never the same. It's always different. Some of the things that I really enjoy is I've taken paraplegics up in airplanes. I've taken people that, terminally ill patients that this was their last wish that they wanted to do to see a whale. These are things that it's very difficult to explain the rewards that come to you from doing that sort of thing.
I don't know. We'll have to. Yeah, she's booked on the 5. The tide's going up too, so the cold water is going to be moving south.
My name is Doug Killian, and I work for Air Nipka. We have a mail contract that goes to Cayuga 3 times a week. It's sort of like what you'll see today. We're flying a nurse out to Cayuga and bringing one nurse out, bringing one back, bringing medical supplies in and out. There's a worker, electrician going out with us. And of course the mail.
I would have to say that this coastline is just spectacular. The perspective of flying at under 1,000 feet is amazing. Like I said, we're flying by whales and porpoises and dolphins all day long, and so being able to see those on a daily basis is unbelievable. It's never a dull moment, really, out there, flying low and slow.
I don't know if you can see that there's an island there with trays on it. That's where we drop off people for the Esquid hike.
You fly on airways at 35,000 feet and you can't deviate. But here you fly any which way you want, as long as you don't. There are rules, of course. You are not allowed to endanger people on the ground. You can land any which way you want, except you're not allowed to hit boats. And so you can fly as low as you want, as long as you're landing and take off. I always say, well, I'm on final for the river, even though I just started here. And I come in at 200 feet. When it's windy, I'd rather fly high, because if anything ever goes wrong with a single engine, it will not go up. It will only come down.
Another big difference, we feel the aircraft. We're feeling it. We're feeling it dip and dive and bop around with the turbulence, and we're feeling it on takeoff, what we call the sweet spot. You know, so a seaplane takes off on the water when the power goes on. It's like a boat. The nose of the aircraft or boat comes up, and then it speeds up and it goes over on the plane. We call it on the step. That's all feel and visually seeing the attitude of the aircraft. Where the big airliners, they're not necessarily feeling everything because the systems are flying the airplane.
When you're flying outside of the main urban areas, you can still get on an airplane without going through a metal detector and all this sort of thing. I guess the most telling impressions of flying a Piston Beaver as opposed to flying a big jet is that you see all your passengers, you see the pilot, you touch the airplane, you can see the wings. It's very much more of a immersing kind of experience.
It's like flying on a postcard. It's mountainous, there's islands, there's ocean, there's wildlife. It's probably one of the most beautiful places in the world to fly.
You're at 5,000 feet, you've got severe clear, nothing but blue sky. The winds are calm. No more pressing trips to do, no more tight schedules. And you're up there by yourself and you look around here and you go, my God, am I lucky.
Just wondering if you guys are sitting in the fog in Dagenham Bay. It's foggy in Silver Bay for the first time, and I'm just wondering if it's come around to Dagenham Bay. I know De Courcy's clear, but I'm just wondering how you guys are looking in there. Thank you. Need one more degree, 14 degrees and be gone. One more degree.
Elevate, checking.
Go ahead, Sean.
Graham, yeah, it looks like you're open from here, are you?
No, it must be very, very close if you can see it. I don't know if Dagenham Bay is open. If you can't get into Silver, you can always go to Bob Roots' dock and I'll bring the people there by car.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's just see what happens here as I get closer here. I'm about 6 miles away.
Okay, roger that.
The West Coast certainly poses its own challenges. There is obviously some weather, significant weather that we have to deal with on a daily basis, and that's the most difficult part of this job and the decision making surrounding that.
There's VFR, which visual flight rules. You have to be able to see sufficiently to maneuver the aircraft to position it where you want it. IFR, instrument flight rules, means that you can fly around without visual reference to the ground or mountains.
If you'll see the fog, that'll be like that all the way to Torpedo.
Which is the worst element to deal with when you fly a float?
Fog. Because in a float plane you're flying visually, visual VFR, visual flight rules, you have to be able to see.
Rob Hill, who used to fly with us 6,500 times as of 2006. I started here in 2001. And he wanted to go at one time to Vancouver. The airport was fogged in, Pitt Meadows was fogged in, but the downtown was fogged in, but English Bay was open. So I landed in English Bay. He phoned a taxi and said, "We're landing at there. Where are you going to be? You will see the airplane."
Like I come into Maple Bay and Ganges 5 times, 10 times a day. Each landing can be different, right? You have to, and if the winds are coming away, you've got to judge if you're going to land crosswind, if there's, the wind's going the wrong direction, you can decide whether you're going to land sideways, parallel to swells, if swells are too big. I mean, there's just multiple. Each landing you're making decisions 5 miles away, 10 miles away. You're thinking of what my landing is going to be like this time.
So the calmer water is on the very far shore here, so we try and get to the calmest spot we can. Sometimes if it's blowing 30 knots, it's not landable in the middle, so this is not bad, but there's still bigger waves. So.
Is straight out, you're Georgia 5 with the turn.
We'd be up the coast and the fog would roll in. And if you knew the area and knew a way out, you would go. If you didn't, you would stay in camp. And luckily it was steak night. And you just sit around with a bunch of loggers and have a nice steak dinner and wait it out. If you're lucky and they had a phone, you'd call your wife and she'd say, "Okay, dear, well, we'll see you tomorrow morning." When in doubt, chicken out.
Not too long ago, 2 weeks ago, I had a co-pilot who said, "How many sick bags have you got?" And I said, "Well, how many do you need?"
Some of the challenges where we operate are swells. So you get swells off the sea bus that goes back and forth here, off ferries. So you get more swell activity than you would on freshwater lakes and rivers.
So I have the lighthouses, which is Estevan Point, Friendly Cove. And there's a woman that lives in Cayucit that was raised at a lighthouse, actually, I think at the Friendly Cove Lighthouse. So she knows weather well. She learned it from her parents. So I have her as a resource. She's very, very good. And I have people that live along the route that I can call.
It looks a little bit towards breakwater. Looks like it's thinning a little bit. And if you can get into DeCourcy, otherwise I'm going to take the people to the ferry, and you can meet them in Nanaimo. There are 4 of them coming over. How are you on fuel? You got enough fuel? Yeah, I've got the jerry can ready here. If I come to Degnan Bay, what I'll do is I'll bring a jerry can of fuel with me, and I'll bring the 3 passengers to Bob Rooks' dock.
Yeah, if they're there, that might be an idea.
Okay, give me a call from DeCourcy anyway when you land there.
Yeah, I'll be down in 2 minutes. Just over Valley.
Hoping your dock is open. If you don't mind, we bring a couple of people in there to depart on our plane. Okay, let's go.
For us, the big thing is the fact that it's an amphibious, so
Right.
we can easily put it into a hangar, land on a runway, taxi up a ramp, and still land in the water as well.
So we operate the Piston Beaver, the Turbo Beaver. We operate the Single Otter. That's the aircraft you see over to the right. And we operate the Twin Otter, which is the twin engine airplane over in this corner. They're all made by de Havilland. They're all Canadian-built aircraft with Canadian-built engines.
The Beaver is, I have a book at home. They called it the engineering marvel of Canada.
The Beaver, when they built it, de Havilland called it the half-ton, referring it to a truck. They call the Otter the 1-ton.
Periods of time when you have to go over layers of fog, that type of thing, you feel better with a twin engine airplane than you do a single engine airplane.
Today we're in a Cessna 185. This is our airplane right here. So yeah, they're great little float planes. They get the job done for quick little trips, just like what we're doing today.
And we try to land as slow as possible. Well, sometimes we goof up and the airplane falls the last 5 feet out and you go boom. And I told the passenger, I hate it when it happens because they charge us 3 landing fees when I get 3 bounces.
Very incredible Cessna 180. This one was built in 1963. And the reason I chose this airplane is because I can actually burn car gas legally.
The Goose is a little more complicated. They were built in the 40s, so I think they've been operating on the coast here since probably not long after that. Probably around the 50s they started flying here. So.
Remind me what the next stop is called? It's called Wakeman Sound. Yeah, we're over top of it. We're just going to do a big loop here and lose more altitude. So I'll put the floats down here. Critical thing is to make sure your wheels are up. I mean, you can land by mistake with the wheels up on a runway, but not wheels down in the water.
Well, you get the pontoons on the wing, keeps it from tipping over. This folds up, kicks in, the wheel folds up into the wheel well.
Pretty easy to land on the water when you get used to this plane. It's kind of fun to land versus other float planes.
It doesn't have any water rudders. So when it's on the water, you're steering it just with the power and the drag.
There's a lot of situations you can get yourself into where there's no books that tell you how to do it.
Like the Cessna Caravan, that is a new production float plane that you can get autopilot in that, but ours are manual flying.
With our short flights, a GPS isn't necessary.
A seaplane pilot, you gotta be part boater, part power boater, part sailor.
It's a pretty straightforward airplane. And we've got our pretty basic instrument package.
The propeller control is, it varies the pitch of the propeller. You can turn the blade, right?
Your attitude indicator shows you the angles that you're flying at.
So this gauge here, it's an RPM gauge, is my tachometer, and that is, if you look at it, it goes up or down if I reduce propeller, right? It changed the pitch.
And up top you've got all your engine instrumentation, you got your manifold pressure.
And most aircraft are all the same. Then you have your throttle, which is manifold pressure on a piston-driven aircraft, they call it. So that's your power. Then you have flaps. On the Beaver, your flaps are down here.
These are your propeller levers, so you have 2 of them, one for each side.
You come into land, you want to, it's a balance. And that's, you ask why we do this and why the difference between float flying and jet flying. Well, it's fun.
You got mixtures, so these control the fuel to each engine.
Now once I get all that, you want to be all cleaned up and set up before you final approach to land, right? Because then you want to have your head out the window.
There's your airspeed indicator.
That's where we go gauge everything by, is airspeed. Because planes have to be moving through the air to keep flying. And if you go too slow, it's called stalling the wing. And then bad things happen. And then you add all your flaps, and then that's it. Now you just reduce your power, boom, hold on, and you're landing. Yeah.
This is an emergency exit. When you're docking a goose, this is quite often how the pilot gets in and out. Yeah, we try not to hire too hollow goose pads. Go to Lauren's kind of.
Get out of there pretty quick.
Yeah.
Necessity, you can do anything.
Yeah.
That's brave, Van, there.
Okay.
You get to digging the grave. Yeah, look here, blue sky here. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. So how do you get through the gate? There he is. Just come in. Perfect.
I don't think he lost it. Oh, Marlana! Oh! Marlana's dead.
Yeah, I'm the president, I'm the chief pilot, I'm the ops manager, I'm the bookkeeper. I'm everything. Some days I look at myself and I'm like, what am I doing, you know? Last night I was up till, I don't know what time.
The real advantages of float flying is that you're up with the sun and finished with the sun. Long days in the summer, short days in the winter.
It's at times seasonal. We are limited, not so much out here on the coast as we are in the central regions of Canada by weather. We have slowdowns. We follow at times the logging industry. If it's slow, consequently we are too. The tourism comes in peaks in the summer.
So that's at least 5 months of the year. Of course, it's the nicest time of year. That's when I live on Salt Spring. You want to go boating, you want to go to the beach, you want to enjoy the summer, you live in a beautiful place. But the problem is, yes, I'm home every night, but I may be home for 8 hours, 10 hours. I get home at 10 at night in the summer sometimes. I get up again at 5, right? And so there you go. I get home, I eat, I sleep, I go back to the plane again.
It's all evolved. In the past, in the 70s, 80s, there was a lot of forestry and fishing. A lot of that was, you know, that was the work. Now it's tourism driven. Up the coast, up north and that, it's fishing, not commercial fishing. It's sport fishing, you know, and eco trips. They're going to see grizzly bears. We're taking them up different places. And then we have here, you know, Vancouver, Nanaimo, Victoria, is a lot of commuters going back and forth.
I do quite a lot of work for the government, mostly Department of Fisheries and Oceans, and supplement it with scenic flights, tourism, but I also fly fishermen. I fly social services for USMA into the Indian reserves. Yeah, so there's a number of different revenue sources.
Small guy flying on the spit, a single pilot with years of experience behind him in order to get to where he is. He might only make 30, 40,000 a year, or less, or more.
I just don't get the dogs to attack me. Just in front of my...
Okay guys, quick safety briefing. We'll be off to Vancouver YVR. For some reason, who knows, I think it's going to be totally fine, but if we have to turn around, we have to turn around. Okay. 4 doors, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. They're your exits. To open them, just twist on the little handles and out. All the doors have the same handle. Make sure you know where they are. For the 2 of you in the middle row here, when the door's beside you, close the handles behind your seat. So to open them, you have to reach back either side. Life jackets, gray pouches above the rear doors that go over your shoulders. Tie them up around your waist. Once they're done up, step onto the float. A couple tabs. Pull on those. They should inflate if they don't. There's valves you can go onto as well. Fire extinguisher in this plane in front of the co-pilot seat, just like a regular household fire extinguisher. Everybody has seatbelts. Do them up, please. Make sure you know how to undo them. Briefing cards about the life jackets. If you have any questions, my name's Sean. Okay. Roth, thank you.
You're going to go through that gap too.
I just want to volunteer one thing. Yeah. When I was working for Harbour Air back in '86, Keith, he asked me over at one time to a young guy, and he says, Klaus, tell this guy, how many logs have you hit? And I said, actually, never. And he says, that's what we want. But I must say, I've had since hit logs. In the river, it's very difficult to, if there's a log that far below, you wouldn't see it because the water is dirty. Here you probably would, but if there's waves, he comes and goes, like or a deadhead. We call it all the when they see a deadhead going down in the river, and it goes up and down, up and down, with the music of the shark. Dun 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 dun. Your door handle is over here when I close it. Life jackets are up here. I showed you how to do that. My name is Klaus. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Yeah, just gotta do it for the camera.